Neuroendocrine neoplasm, once that diagnosis has been made, it's graded, and there are different grades or different forms of aggressiveness of these neuroendocrine neoplasms. So you're going from low grade to very indolent, slow growing, to high grade, which are much more active in the way that they grow. So you've got what's called grade 1 neuroendocrine neoplasms, which are based on the way that the cells are turning over. And so you may see on your pathology report something called Ki-67, which is the way the cells are turning over. And if the cells are if the Ki-67 index is between 0 and 2%, that's called grade 1. That's very low grade and very slow growing. Grade 2, which is an intermediate group, is between Ki-67 proliferation index of 3 up to 20%. And anything over 20% is known as a high-grade neuroendocrine neoplasm, and that's greater than 20%. But even in that group, there's a range of how aggressive the cells can be. So you have what's defined as poorly differentiated or well-differentiated. The well-differentiated neuroendocrine neoplasms include grade 1 and grade 2, but a proportion of grade 3 are well differentiated and therefore are less aggressive than the poorly differentiated grade 3 neoplasms, which are more active and perhaps act more like other cancers in the way that they grow. And all of that has implications for the type of treatment that you're going to give patients. So it's very important to have an understanding not only of where the tumor is derived from, its original site, but also then the grade. And also we take into context, if the patient has had surgery, whether lymph nodes have been involved and whether they're spread beyond that. And that's called the TNM classification, tumor node metastasis. And that will all usually be on a pathology report, which is the most important aspect of the original understanding and the diagnosis of neuroendocrine neoplasms. And to that point, the role of the pathologist is key, because you have to make sure that the pathologist is experienced in assessing biopsies and surgical samples from neuroendocrine patients to make sure that they've graded it properly and the right diagnosis is being made. The Ki-67 proliferation index, it's often in the letters that are sent out from the clinicians. You may have a copy of the biopsy report which says Ki-67 proliferation index is 2% or 5% or 20%. And the importance of it is that it tells you about the biology of the tumor. And in essence, all it is the way that the cells are turning over. It's called its cell cycle, the number of cells that are in cycle and how rapidly they're turning over. So if the Ki-67 proliferation index is 1%, that's very slow. If it's 80%, that's incredibly high. Most neuroendocrine tumor patients are grade 1 or grade 2, which is the well-differentiated type, and their Ki-67 proliferation index is less than 3% for grade 1 and between 3 and 20% for grade 2. But you can get patients with well-differentiated neuroendocrine tumors with a Ki-67 proliferation index of more than 20%, that's grade 3, but it's still well differentiated, acts like a neuroendocrine tumor, often is open to the standard neuroendocrine tumor treatments, as opposed to the poorly differentiated neuroendocrine tumor patients where their Ki-67 proliferation index could be 90% or 100%, reflecting a much more aggressive growth pattern.